Guess what day it is? It is the day of the AFC Championship game and NFC Championship.
Aaron's working really hard on not letting this mess with his emotions because last week, him and I actually ended up getting in a mild argument because of how stressful the household was for like 2 days straight. So
I was in shambles.
Yeah.
Mentally.
Even though they won, it was a little bit stressful on the house, and it's football, so it shouldn't. Anyways, we're just sharing with you guys that we have arguments, and that was one of them. It wasn't really an argument. It was more just a discussion that, we can. And I actually learned through that to instead work with Aaron. So I actually retreat to the bedroom because of how stressful it is down in the living room. But I learned that instead of running away and hiding, I can just do my own thing, but still hang out with Aaron. And I can craft, I can write, I can read while he does his thing. And that way we're still together, but I'm not like retreating because I'm frustrated that he's like
anxious
in game mode, if that makes sense, Because, like, I don't want to punish him for what he enjoys and what he loves. So, but hiding is kind of like, not really the cool thing to do. But it is okay, I learned. It is okay to take some time out and do your own thing, but you can kind of like share your time with your spouse.
Yeah. I just like watching the games,
Yes.
Coming from like a football background and really like having the Bills as my team in the NFL, it's just hard not to get super involved into it. And I guess like guys overall, I think they have the same or a similar type of outlet. They have sports or whatever it is. I think we just get super involved and overanalyze in our one thing. Like for me, it's football. It's just kind of how we're wired, I guess.
And just like Mike said, we don't want it to impact us. We don't want it to impact our spouses in a negative way. So, but we can learn to work together on it.
Yeah, when you're like, I'm talking to myself. When you're being a grumpy guy because your team lost, it's like, all right, boys, we got to get over ourselves.
Yeah, because whose team do we really want to be on, y'all? Jesus. I want to be on Jesus's team.
I want to be on.
I want to win for Jesus.
Yes, Team Jesus is the best team.
That's what we're talking about here.
It's okay to root for your.
It is. It is. It's fun. Yeah. The Lord gives us these things to have fun with, but we don't need to be high stress about them either.
Yeah. So what happened last couple weeks?
Well,
what have we been doing? Well, yeah.
We gotta share.
Obviously, we know that I was hella stressed last week, but
we gotta share.
We made it through.
We've had so Aaron and I, we have had a week of I think a lot of conversations and getting to the bottom of things. So like conversations, like I can always tell when Aaron's a little bit off. Like he's just not his normal like spunky self, and he gets like in. It's just when your husband's off, when your best friend's off. When your mom and dad are off, like you can tell. So it was more, we had a lot of conversations this week about like, what's bugging you? Like what are the roots of these things? Lots of financial discussions, things about our finances and things about Aaron's car, which has been an ongoing thing, like just in our house. And it was just kind of all coming down at once. And you were a little bit just not he's so good at holding composure, which obviously like as a football coach, as a teacher, like being able to do that is so important. But when you come home to your spouse, it's a safe place for you to kind of like allow yourself to let those walls down.
It's true.
But when you've been doing that all day and like your whole life, you're like, I got to be a certain way. I got to look a certain way, present myself a certain way. It's hard to just like unravel your walls and show weaknesses, especially as a man. I can only imagine.
Yeah. I mean, I think for guys, it's like we want to put on this like persona that like we're strong. We don't need anyone to be involved in our ish because it's not yours, it's mine, and I have to carry it all because I'm the man, and no one else needs to know because we perceive that as weakness. When you really think about it, keeping it to yourself and then letting it affect your emotions and your mood, that's actually weakness. You know?
Yeah.
Because you are showing everyone that you can't take on whatever you're going through on your own. It's obvious. So yeah, share your ish, man. Whether it's you with your bros, especially with your wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Share your stuff.
And going alongside of that is this week we were discussing so Aaron's car has had this thing. He drives a Jeep Wrangler. It's an awesome epic car.
That's right.
So much fun. But it's a newer Jeep Wrangler. They have any newer car, it doesn't matter if it's Jeep or whatever it is, especially any newer American car. I'm sorry guys, but they're low quality. They're trash cars. They don't last very long. And that's just the facts. So unfortunately, Aaron's car falls in a year that, it's having some issues that it's needing to work out. And we have been having this problem where his car wasn't starting, and you were having to like pull the battery terminals off.
Yeah, it was the whole thing.
Yeah, it was like
the whole thing.
It was consistent, but remember a couple of podcasts ago, like we shared our God story where we prayed over the car and like it stopped, and it stopped for like a solid 2 months. Like we were not having problems. We went to the river, like we were making some ballsy calls in that car, but we were not having any issues.
Yeah,
and it started happening all of a sudden. This kind of like brought up last week,
couple weeks, yeah,
where Aaron was like a little off, and I had to ask him like, well, what's going on? And he shared with me like, hey, the car's having some problems again. It's been having some ish for the last couple of weeks. Like, I just didn't want to bother you with it and have you stress out on something else. So it became this thing of, well, let's get it fixed. Like, let's figure out what it is. And I think you and I, in the very beginning of this whole ordeal months ago, we knew what it was, but we
totally knew it was the starter.
Yeah.
Like from the rip.
Yeah.
But like I for some reason like avoided that because of how difficult it looked online and YouTube, and everyone's like complaining about how annoying it is to change it out. I was like, ooh, I do not want to do that because
let's hope it's not that.
Yeah, we hope it's not that, because if it is, we have to take it in and this and that. But just kind of looking back on it, like it was totally God lining it up to where he's like, okay, you guys don't need to pay for this right now. I'm gonna let it run perfectly for like 2 months, and now you have some finances backed up. Okay, now I'm gonna bring this issue up again, literally to the day. Like 2 days ago, I went to the store. It stopped. It didn't turn on when I was trying to head back. And I was over. I'm like, all right, I'm going to text this guy, because you told me to text this guy that our friend Sarah had her Jeep. He was working on her Jeep. And I was fed up. I wasn't going to text him. I was like, all right, whatever. I'll just take it in. I was fed up. I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm going to text this dude and just see what he says. And he was like, yeah, I had a phone call conversation with him. Super nice guy. He was like, yeah, I'm not doing anything tomorrow. Like, come over tomorrow at like 10. We'll check it out.
And he lived down south, in like IB area, which Aaron and I had already planned to go down there and go fish.
Yeah, we were gonna go fishing in the morning, and then we were already down there, so we'll just head over when we're done. And by the time we were done fishing, the car was not turning on. Everything that I would normally do to get it to work it was not working, to the point where I called the dude like, hey, I'm 10 minutes from your house. Can you come down here and check it out? Wasn't very far. And just like, it's just so perfect how God like lined that up to that day. Okay, now it's going to conk out right here, 10 minutes from this dude's house. So you guys can go fishing, enjoy yourselves. I'm going to have it crash out so that way he sees the actual issue and it's not just, oh, it's working now.
Well, because everybody we took it to prior, it was always working. Like it never not worked.
Like, I can't
so
find
they
the issue.
couldn't, even the dealer had no idea what was going on with it.
And he was able to figure out, oh yeah, it's a starter. And he was like, dude, come follow me. We'll go buy a new starter and I'll put it in for you. And God just totally hooked it up. Like, I only paid for $150 starter. And we offered to pay the guy. We're like, dude, you spent, 3 hours taking this pain in the butt starter out of the car, which should have been like a 30-minute job.
Yeah.
But it would, trust me, it was a pain getting that big old thing out of this tiny little spot. But we're like, dude, like, we'll pay you. Like, what do you worked on this like all afternoon. He's like, no, don't worry about it. So
Super
we just,
nice
yeah,
dude.
we saved from that like $600, $500 easily. But it just goes to show you like how what seems like an annoyance thing or an inconvenience, like in my mind, you asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have been, all right, fine, whatever. I'll spend $600. I'll take it in to whatever shop and they'll figure it out and they'll fix it. Like I was willing to do that. But God was like, no, just hold on. I'm going to let you run this out a little bit, go fishing. Okay, now it's going to conk out. Okay, now you're going to go fix it. And it's not going to cost you as much as you were originally going to.
Yeah.
Which is super cool. And it just like goes to show you how much we don't trust him in like the inconvenience part of it when we really should. Right? Because his ways are higher than our ways. His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. Like there's nothing that we can perceive now that what God's doing in the present, in the future. So it's just a cool little testimony.
Yeah, that was cool.
You said you were praying for patience like 2 days ago, right?
Well, yeah, because I didn't know that this is how like my day started or was going to start, because even when I went to bed that night, I had a totally different plan for my day in the morning. And Aaron and I had just completely miscommunicated about the day, like in general. So I was going to go to the gym. I had my gym clothes on. And he's like, wait, we're going fishing. And I was like, okay, we're going fishing. And I had a whole, like my day like went whoop, and it pivoted like completely. And I was like, okay, this is what I'm doing today. So, but I didn't bring any water. I didn't bring like, I thought we were just going fishing. And we were going to get the car looked at for maybe 20 minutes. And then like that was going to be the day.
And then bounce.
Like that's what I thought. And it was funny because a couple of days ago, I had asked the Lord to please give me more patience for my husband, because I've noticed myself being impatient lately over very small little things. So of course, naturally, I ask him for more patience. And of course, he delivers shortly after. And
like the next day.
Yeah, like 2 days later, this man, and so I'm already a little bit off, like my day's thrown off, and I have so much stuff I have to come home and do still. And then, so in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I have all this crap to do. Then the car doesn't start. Yeah, and I'm sitting there, my phone dies. I have nothing to do. This whole ordeal,
we're at this dude's house,
10 o'clock to 4 p.m. It was like a 7-hour ordeal. Like we got lunch, we got home, this whole thing. And I was like, oh my, where'd my Saturday go? It's gone. And it
was a pain getting that thing out.
Yeah. Thank God there was a cat I could hang out with. But the whole time was just like, okay, this has to get done. I have literally like, I have no choice right now. Like I have to be here and like sit through this and just wait it out. And God, like, things were being tossed my way. Like people were asking me to come over and help them with stuff. And I was just like, I can't do anything. I'm like stuck here and I got to just sit here. And there was nothing I could do on my phone. It was a true test of patience. Now, when I got home, I may have been mildly frustrated because I was like, I have so much crap to do and very little time to do it. But somehow everything got managed. Did I have to give up some things that I wanted to do that day for myself? 100%. But I think that you can look at it as, oh crap, I had to give up all this stuff for myself. And my husband got to basically have the whole day for himself. But I looked at it more of, this is what it's going to be like when we have kids. Like my day is not going to be my day anymore. Like, and it was like a great training session for me, somebody who's very planned, to just be like, I can't do anything about this day. Like, I just have to sit here. Like, I have no choice.
At what point did you realize that you're like, oh crap, I prayed for patience the other day?
When you guys left to go to the store and I was by myself in the driveway. I was literally by myself.
To get those bolts?
Yeah, the guys had left to go to the store and I was like, okay, I'm just here alone. There's no phone. There's no books. There's nothing to do. I was playing with a wrench. That was in Aaron's car. I was so bored. And I was just kind of like, okay, then I'm just going to hang out with the Lord and talk to him. Like, why not? Mm-hmm. And there you go. That's when he told me. He was like, you literally asked me for this the other day. So here you go. So, yeah, that was kind of, you never know what you're going to get with him. You never know how he's going to do it. And I knew when I asked, too. I knew it. I knew when I asked. I was like, crap.
You're like, I'm about to get
I'm going to regret asking this. Oh, I know it. But, all right, let's see what he does.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Good job, buddy.
But just so you guys know, patience is a virtue.
Patience is a virtue. At myself, about to watch this game in 2.5 hours.
Yep.
Well, that's like pretty much it. That's all we got for you guys today.
Oh.
Patience. Oh, go ahead.
Here's a pro tip for you guys. This is so random, but for anybody who is trying to date, trying to get married.
I was just going to say. I was doing the same thing, but go ahead.
Anybody who's trying to date, trying to get married, here's a pro tip. Work on your budget now. So while Aaron's watching the game today, I have been a little bit lax on our food budget in the last 2 weeks, and I've gone a little rogue. So we're pulling it back. Go through and dial in your budgets. Take your time on Sundays at the start of your week to figure out how to make the rest of your week successful. If you do it before you're married and before you're even dating, the Lord's going to see, wow, that person's a great steward of their money, of their finances. Get it done early. Why wait until you're married? I wish that I was doing a little bit of budgeting before I met Aaron because I had to. I was forced to do it. But I wished I had done so much more.
Even if you feel like you don't need to, I got a good job. I'm fine. I have my expenses, blah, blah, blah. I'm good. Even if I go out every other weekend, I'm still good. Even if that's the case, budget anyways. Because all those extra expenditures, I don't want to come off as super righteous, but you can be saving those for an opportunity to bless somebody.
Yes, 100%. And it's
or bless your future kids.
Oh yeah.
You're not even dating somebody right now. Well, if the Lord put it on your heart that you want to be married and you want to have kids, start saving money for your kids, even if you're not even dating. Dang, that's some heat right there.
Yeah. Now I understand what our parents were always telling us. Save your money. Stop spending your money. All right, Dad.
I was going to segue kind of a similar thing since we're talking about patience and stuff. If you are discouraged in any way or you feel like you're stagnant, you're never stagnant. You're never not. going anywhere. Like we heard it today in church, the way of the righteous spirals upward, right? So if you look at it from a 2D perspective, you're just going back and forth. But if you change your perspective and look at it in a 3D lens, you're spiraling upwards, right? You're doing this. So change your perspective. You're never going back and forth. God's got you exactly where he wants you as long as you're continuing to be obedient and prune some of the stuff he's asking you to prune.
Yeah.
In this season.
That's so good. I needed to hear that.
That's it, son.
Well, make sure to
Watch the Bills, root for the Bills. Don't root for the Chiefs. Yeah.
Make sure to follow us on.
Yes. Yeah. Guys, thanks for watching. Yeah, follow us on YouTube. Subscribe. Send this to a friend. If you think that this would bless them, that would be dope. Comment. Do all the good stuff. Helps grow the channel. Follow us on the grams. At Dating and Marriage Podcast. And that is about
Nanarduck out.
See you guys later.